everybody. Welcome back to episode 61 of the Talkoffamepod podcast with your host, Kyliemontigney. I'm so excited to have on actor, singer, dancer, and model, Sofia Bragar. Thanks so much for coming on, Sophia.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So you've always had a passion for performing arts. What made you want to start doing performing arts and being in this industry?
Well, since I was little, like you said, I've always had a passion for it, and I started singing and dancing and taking lessons since very young. But what kind of triggered me to want to pursue it longer was when I had to decide what to do for college and what to do with my life after when I was around 15 years old. And I thought, like, I don't really want to be sitting down and like a 9 to 5 job doing something maybe I won't love to do. And
Mm-hmm.
instead, I would like to pursue something that I've always wanted to do, which is like the performing arts in general. So I also remember seeing my cousin. He would all the time perform for plays or musicals, and I would look at him like, oh my God, he's doing what I would love to do, and like just having this feeling like I needed to do it too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I started like looking up colleges that have like good performing arts programs, and I liked what I was seeing, so I just decided to go for it and do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I like such a young age, like kind of like similar to you. I always kind of wanted to be in the entertainment industry, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to be exactly. And so, guys, I kind of got older. I'm 15 years old now, and I'm thinking to myself like, I'm graduating in a couple of years. Like I need to start figuring out what I want to do with myself. Like I have no idea what I'm going to do. And so like, I have like two journalists in my family that are journalists from a local news station. And every time I see one of them on TV and I'm like, okay, I want to do that. Like there's something I guess there's something about it that's like liked. And then like every like I remember when quarantine first started, I just remember putting out questions and make sure and ask questions to my parents and to see who which one knows me better. So kind of had that feeling, but I didn't realize until like last year that I'm like, oh, I'm already asking questions to people. Like why not just kind of switch us over to a podcast or say and just kind of switch on into your own genes and kind of make your family proud, I'll say. Just kind of find your passion and see like what you want to do with your life throughout college or your life during schooling. So that's kind of like very similar to yours as well. It's just crazy to think about that. Like you kind of never expected be in this position and now you're like, oh well, I guess I have kind of stick with it. You know what I mean?
Right. But like, there's no rush. Like in my case, thankfully, I decided with a lot of time what I wanted to do, and I was very sure. But I know friends that took like a lot of time to decide what their passion is. Some don't even know yet, but they kind of like went for something, and like halfway through they change, or they're like, yeah, I actually liked it a lot. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a thing of like trying to find something you love. Like you said, you realize how you love like doing podcasts and stuff by like asking questions to your parents during quarantine. And I feel like it can literally start out of nowhere, and you don't even realize until you actually put like a thought about, like, you think about it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So you got to play a role in Augmented. What was that like? What was kind of that experience like to play that role?
Well, yeah, so Augment is a short film that is coming up soon this year. And I was a doctor, which is the antagonist of a short film. I don't really want to tell a lot more about the short film itself, but it's like like a fantasy kind of like world, and it's very dark and stuff. So for me, I am like in general like a very happy and positive person. So like just going into this character that had to be like very dark and mean and like I know it all was kind of like a challenge, especially because I had a lot of time on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a challenge to just focus and stay throughout the whole thing as this person that I was creating in the moment. Because of course, you take when you're an actor, you do take stuff that is like genuine to you, but
Yeah.
sometimes you're gonna have to play characters that are not necessarily you as a person. So
Mm-hmm.
just having to grab some of what you know and like grabbing and like putting it into this like fantasy character that you're making up was like very hard for me,
Mm-hmm.
especially because it was my first um big role in a short film ever.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience overall. I loved it, but it was very challenging to stay focused on the character and the role I was doing and not going and like saying things or acting like Sofia, but
Mhm.
this character instead.
Yeah, like would you say like your character is very similar to like yourself, or you would just say it's like you two have like different kind of personalities?
No, I think we are very different, but like something that we do have a lot in common is like being kind of straightforward and saying things how they are.
Mhm.
So I guess I just grabbed that and I took advantage of that thing that I have in my personality, you know, and like I put that into the character, and I just try to focus on that as well as adding all these other things that were very different for me, like being like a bitch. Oop. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's crazy to think like you are literally like two different personalities. Like you like first of all, I'm thinking myself like when I see an actor role, I personally am a fan of the person. I'm thinking myself like how can someone act like a different toll on themselves? Like like how can they do that? Like I can't even imagine how much they have to go through to act a different personality and do have to break character and just pretend like, oh, I was black as my own personality. And so
Right.
I can't like sometimes like those kind of hardest part for you to kind of act like someone different from yourself.
Yeah, just being someone different, I guess. You just have to find the things that you have in common, even though they might be kind of hidden or hard to find. There's always something, and like grab that, you know, like stick with that, and then like build the character around that thing that you find in common. At least that works for me a lot.
Yeah. And so in 2017, you got to play a role in Fame the musical. What was that process like to be in that theater production?
So it was actually my first experience ever acting on stage or acting in general. I had, like I said before, I always loved performing arts, so I did have a lot of singing and dance training, but I hadn't, like, I had never acted in my whole life before. So I was like, oh my God, it's kind of very scary. And when I auditioned for it, I actually got the lead role, Carmen, which she's also very like feisty and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I actually am doing this now, right? So having the experience of like, first off, being with a like wonderful team behind me, like my director was amazing, the people helping us were amazing, the stage managers, everyone in the cast was great and super supportive. So I felt like I was in a very comfortable and safe space to be me and like be creative, you know.
Mhm.
And just Carmen in general, she's a very strong character as well, and I feel like it's not hard for me to do strong characters.
Mhm.
I didn't know that in the moment, but I kind of like figured it out as I was going through the musical.
Mhm.
And I thought it was very hard to like sing with other people at the same time. Like, you know
Yeah.
how like if you have your solo or whatever, of course there's ensemble behind it, or like if you're part of like a harmony, you have to like know what you're doing at the same time as like doing this, like staying within your path, but also like kind of like sounding like a whole. So this whole like harmonization and like staying in track with everyone else was kind of hard for me.
Yeah.
But we made it, and it was a great show. I loved being in that show. It was amazing in every sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, do you have anyone that you worked with throughout the last couple of years as like a in a theater production or as a role they kind of stuck out to you? Like, do you have anyone that kind of stuck out to you the most that you got to work with?
Can you please repeat that question one
Yeah.
more time?
So like you got to work with so many like amazing people and everything, and like over the last couple of years, like you got to work with amazing people, and like do you have anyone they worked with that kind of meant the most to you or kind of stuck out to you the most?
Yes, so actually the music director from Fame the Musical, his name is Diego Belmar. He was very special to me because he trusted me with my singing capacities, and he trained me not only for the musical but afterwards. He was like my vocal and acting coach for a while, and we made this like very strong um like teacher student relationship, but also friends and friends relationship.
Mhm.
So I got to learn a lot from the show, and also from outside the show. So our friendship that we developed and our like work, I guess like ethic together like match a lot. So I loved getting to know him and being able to know him better.
That's awesome. So do you have anyone that you kind of look up to as an actress, or in general, do you have anyone that you look up to?
So of course there's like so many celebrities that I look up to, but I kind of want to answer this one with like someone I have closer to me, that I can actually. She's one of my like closest friends here. She's also an actress, and we even graduated together. But she has before, during, and after college, she did a lot of short films or small projects where she was the main character, the principal role. And I always like she inspires me so much because she's an actress. Her name is Madison Rotolo, by the way.
Mhm.
She, as an actress, she's very a very strong. She makes strong choices, and she doesn't do things just like because she there's a reason behind it. She studied it before doing it, and her passion and like the way that she works all the time. She's always busy, like auditioning or like preparing or like for callbacks or work itself. And I just, she inspires me a lot as an actress. And the good things of having her as a friend as well is that I can feed from that energy and that like work ethic, you know?
Mhm.
So it's yeah, I she inspires me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's really not like a lot of people in the entertainment industry that's not always kind of constantly busy trying to audition and trying to do all these things like callbacks. Like there's not a lot of people that kind of take it seriously. And if you see me every single day, I'm really, since I wake up at 7:30 in the morning to like 9:30 at night, I'm like working, doing school or doing something with the podcast or something. So like I like it's always good since like you always can keep yourself occupied and never be bored. Yes, it can be
Right.
stressful, but then at the end of the day, like it's just something you'd like to do for a living. You know what I mean? And like it's just like it's kind of I don't know how to explain it, but it's like it's just like if you work hard enough, you'll get to where you're going. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like it's just like if you work hard for your dreams, then you'll get there.
Yeah, I agree.
And so if you could work with any actor or actress, who would it be?
Oh, Zendaya, hands down.
Mhm,
She right now in the industry is like killing it. And
mhm.
I remember seeing her when I was younger in Disney Channel, you know, and being like, oh
Yeah.
my God, she's awesome. Like, I love her hair too. Like, I don't know. She was like a great actress. And I don't know, she kind of, I think she kind of inspired me to kind of like follow musical theater too, because that
Mhm.
was my major when I was in college. And like just seeing her now, how big she is at such a young age, and her acting abilities, like her way of like really committing to her emotions when acting, even though she,
Mhm.
I don't even know if she's actually feeling them or not in the moment, but like you can clearly see it
Yeah.
on her performance and just that connection. I just want to like be able to work with her, see her doing it like in the moment, and just like be
Mhm.
like, whoa, you're amazing. I just like talk to her and like, you know, get in her head a little bit, just know how she does that because she's so talented, and I'm pretty sure she has like such a good work ethic as well.
Yeah, like everyone basically once she first started out, everyone knew her like since like Disney Channel, like from what was that Disney Channel show she was in?
Oh, I saw
Casey
this stunning.
Undercover. Casey Undercover, she was in it.
Was it that one? Wasn't it also like the one where she danced with
Oh,
Bella Thorne?
Shake It Up or something?
Yes, Shake It Up. Yes, that one,
Yeah,
that
and
one.
like yeah, she is like she everyone basically knew her from those like two movies are basically one of the best in Disney. And so
Right.
like everyone basically knew how like talented she was and how like everyone that's basically in our generation knew who she was since we kind of
Right.
grew up with Disney Channel and all those things. But did you ever see Euphoria? Have you ever watched that?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't finished it yet, so please no spoilers. But
I didn't finish it yet either.
okay, yeah, yeah. But like that's what I'm saying. Her performance is so strong. I'm not only there, she's done so many other like stuff too.
Mhm.
She connects so well. I don't know what she does, but like whatever secret she has or whatever she's doing, she's definitely doing it right. And I want to
Yeah.
get to be there and experience it live, you know?
Yeah, I feel the same exact way. Sometimes I think to myself, like, God, one day I want to see Sunday so I can see what she's actually doing and where her mindset is. Because like you said, she's one of the best to ever do it. So you gotta take it in and try to learn what to best to ever do at least. Like there's not a lot of people like her and her talent. So you gotta take
Exactly,
it
and especially at such a young age, like I feel like it's so hard to be so successful as like so young, because like people have to get to trust you in the industry, you know? And like
Mhm.
somehow she made it in Disney, and after that, people just trusted her because she did a good job and she was like
Mhm.
a child star, you know? And then
Yeah.
after that, she just made it happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so since the quarantine started back in 2020, and how much do you think has changed in terms of acting since the pandemic started?
Oh wow, a lot.
Yeah.
I think like especially when it comes to like communicating and auditions and stuff, like everything turned online. Everything turned either like Zoom Live or like self tapes, and then there. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people also, or me in my case, I just started working on my craft in a very different way.
Mhm.
I was able to focus more, for example, on how to like my eyeline on the camera, like or like focus on the light, how the lighting should be, or like how to stay active and perform as if you were in front of a whole audience when you're by yourself in your
Mhm.
room self-taping, you know, like
Yeah.
you have to have the same energy, and like just figuring that all out was very hard. and and I feel like for a lot of people it was, but it also kind of made it easier. Like people that are not from like the big cities like LA or New York or
Mhm.
Atlanta, they can actually audition to stuff from their homes. So
Yeah.
it opened doors to a lot of people that didn't really have a chance before because they weren't in like physically in these big cities.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe the beginning was very challenging and hard for everyone,
Mhm.
but then like we all kind of like figure it out, you know, and it
Mhm.
works now. Like even now we're kind of like going back to like a no COVID times kind of,
Yeah.
and there's still so many like auditions online still or self tapes. Like
Yeah.
they probably will call you back. Like if they call you back, they will in person, but not even. Sometimes it's still online. So it's
Mhm.
just weird how everything kind of shifted. But I feel like it was a good change. It had to kind of happen, you know.
Yeah. And like, were self tapes like a thing before COVID happened, or is this kind of like a thing that kind of shifted once COVID hit?
Well, they were, but not as much.
Uh,
So like it became a big thing now, you know?
yeah, gotcha. And like, how much do you think that, like, how much, like, for you has changed when COVID happened, like, in terms of acting? Like, do you have any roles that you kind of, like, is there any like bookings you kind of saw and you're like, oh, okay, I want to do this role, or is kind of like, did you find like a different approach in terms of acting or in general?
Yeah, I think my approach on acting, I just, yeah, I think being inside and not being able to go outside or like acting through the camera by myself just made me like internalize a lot of my acting.
Hmm.
So instead of maybe being so like, and I don't want to say showy because that's not the word,
Yeah.
but it was way more internalized where I looked more centered and more like rooted in what I was doing. And that made my
Hmm.
acting way better. And also, I was able to train online with a lot of teachers that I wouldn't have had the chance to train with in
Hmm.
person because they weren't there, but they could connect from their home, you know?
Hmm.
So I was able to make a lot of like different new contacts that I wouldn't have if it wasn't online. And I was able to find a different way of approaching my own acting and internalize it in a way that made me look way more confident on what I was doing and feel more confident as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And like ever since I started this podcast, I had no self confidence. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was like, "Oh, this is easy. Like this is like probably the easiest thing in the world." Like I kind of thought, "Oh, this is a hit and run. I can assist with 10 minutes." But then like I kind of got on with the episodes. I'm like, "Well, this is really hard. Like this is
Yeah.
do daily." And everything you do in the entertainment industry and just in general is hard in some type of way. You have to work and you have to like keep working to get more attention on your social media, get more booking to roles and all these things, and it's hard. And trust me, like if you say a journalism and the entertainment industry is hard, not hard, you need to dive more further because it's very difficult.
Yeah, there's a lot of training and work and focus and like a lot of that you have to put on to be able to be good in the entertainment industry that people don't even know about. It's insane how much work you have to do and how focused you have to be. And I feel like you brought up a very important point, like the confidence. Oh my God, that's such a thing. Like you have to be confident in what you're doing. You have to trust yourself. Because if you don't, then you're never gonna like really be successful. One, because you really have to like trust yourself. Like you are good, you're enough, you know, that's like the first thing. And also because it will show on your performance, it will show on your work. And I personally realized after like a big change in me as a performer, of course as a person as well, but as a performer, when I started trusting my acting, it definitely changed. Like it was way better. I started getting way more compliments from teachers and friends that were in class with me. I started I don't know, just it changed. It clicked on me one day and it just changed everything. Just the confidence is like a big thing.
Yeah. And so like as I kind of the confidence is such a big thing. Like like at first you're probably like, oh, this is everyone's probably once they first start doing things, people are probably not confident with this since it's new. Then as time goes on, like they all like, oh, I feel very confident about this, or I
Right.
feel very confident about this work or about this interview. And I literally applied for one of my dream jobs yesterday, and I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
and I literally was like, Mom, like I feel so confident about this. Like not a lot of people like when you're acting, like a lot of people feel very confident about this role. Like this a role they really want. They feel like, oh, I'm gonna get this role. This I can add feeling. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, that's what I'm feeling. I don't get that personally. And this lot of people don't get a lot of feelings. They be like, oh, I feel very confident about this. Like this role, I'm definitely gonna get. I have that feeling. It's just like it's something like you don't expect to happen, but if you really work hard to it, then it's gonna happen if you really work for it.
Right, totally agree. And you have to like just trust it. And if things don't go the way you thought it could go, which is literally almost all the time,
Yeah.
you just have to like trust that that was meant to be and keep going. Like, of course, you might sometimes feel like you don't have any motivation or like you failed. Where like I don't know, it's part of it. You know, you have to
Yeah.
learn how to also deal with the rejection and like failing is actually in like it's not really failing, it's just it wasn't meant for you. That's how I try to see it, you know.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah,
to
I'm the same exact way. And so the final
yeah.
question for the interview is what is some advice for younger generations that like to be an actress or be in the entertainment industry one day?
I think first off, go for it, try it out however you can, maybe like at the theater at your school or like I don't know, going out for smaller auditions or bigger auditions or however, just like try it out. You have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And worst case, you just find out that it's not for you, or the best thing that could happen, you have so much fun and you figure out that that's what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
And then also, I would say what I was also just mentioning, um, to start getting used to the rejection and that people will criticize you and like say things about you, because that will always happen. I
Yeah.
think you just cannot base your happiness or what you're gonna do or what you're not gonna do based on what other people will say or think.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a little bit to like actually get that.
Yeah,
Of
me
course,
too.
sometimes it still affects me when someone might think something about my performance or what I did, you know.
Yeah.
But it's very important that you only have to focus on what you feel and what you think and not what others will. Because if you base your fears or like your passions on others, then you will never really be free to do what you want to do.
Yeah. And so like everything like you have if you really want to be in the entertainment industry, you have to take no for an answer. There's always rejection. And
Yeah.
that's kind of something like you said before is something that I kind of struggle with taking a no for an answer. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh no, that no can't be an answer. I really want this job or I just want to be in this role. And this so it's like very difficult for everyone that's trying to like start out in the entertainment industry. It's like, oh, like it's okay if I get no. It's heartbreaking at one point, then at the end of the day, at one point, it's kind of like a deal breaker. Like you might like it's probably something that you did that you need to work on, or just something that probably it was not meant for you. at that time. And like if there's gonna be another role like that, then try to do it like maybe like a couple months from now, or years, no matter how much it takes. But then at the end of the day, like you have to work on yourself. No is part of the role, and you don't just always a no in what you do. So you should always kind of work on that and try to say like, okay, well, I need to take this as an answer. I just try and find something else to do.
Exactly. And I would think of a no's as not yet or not here, not a no forever, not a no, you cannot do this, not a no, you're not enough. No. I would think of it's not here, just keep going. You know, like use that no to fill up your next step, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree. So guys, I kind of mentioned I can't really speak today. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You're amazing. It was so good to speak with you. Thanks so much for coming on again. We'll definitely speak soon for sure. Thanks so much for coming on.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Of course. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.